So, the past few days I've seen some snow days both here at the Piano Academy and at school. So you haven't had time for lessons at school, haven't been able to go to them, and you haven't been to the academy for your instrumental lessons. So, if you're at home, more time to practice perhaps. So, on a snow day, what do we do with our instrument? Well, the first thing is, particularly with the instruments that I teach, keep your hands warm whenever you can, and if they get cold, just gently warm them up, and then do some simple stretching exercises. Extend your hand, turn it over, extend it. Gently move your fingers, nothing aggressive, nothing that kind of really pushes you to the limit, but just keep those hands moving, keep them loose and fluid. Then we get to our instrument. What can we do? Well, many people start with a scale. Why not this time start with a scale in swing time? Make scales just a little bit more interesting, and you might want to experiment with some different patterns. So that was tip number 2. Tip number 3, find a short piece that you're working on, or part of a short piece that you're working on, and grab the iPad or the iPhone or your computer and record yourself playing it. Then have a listen to it and congratulate yourself on the good bits, and maybe work a little bit more on the bits that are not quite so good. Tip number 3 that was. So here we are. Tip number 4. Why don't you doodle some notes on your instrument? Or I like to use the word noodle, when you just pick the odd note. Just play around with your instrument. Just sit with your guitar, sit with your ukulele, your clarinet, your flute, your saxophone, or at the keyboard, and just play some notes. You never know that you might come up with the next hit or the next exciting riff, a la Smoke on the Water or something like that. Tip number 5, why don't you just sit away from your instrument, go to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, there are others available, and listen to some music that you wouldn't normally listen to. You might listen to some jazz. How many times have you listened to jazz? Try Miles Davis or blues. Classical. How many times have we listened to classical music? There's some very exciting music written by what Nigel Kennedy might call dead composers. And why not try Rodeo by Aaron Copland? Just a couple of ideas, but there's so much music out there to listen to it. And don't just have it on in the background, listen to it. Have a listen to what instruments are playing. Listen to the tempo. Work out what is the key signature. Is it major or minor? Is it 4/4, 3/4, 6/8? All these things will help you with your theory and with your general playing. Finally, for those people who are doing GCSEs, have a listen to all the set pieces between now and your next lesson. Really get familiar. Those being the set pieces that we've worked on already, but you can always have a listen to some of the new ones as well. So I hope you've enjoyed my top tips, and enjoy the weekend, and we'll see you next week when hopefully there'll be no snow.